Hey there, what's up guys? Bryan here, and today I want to talk about a bebop tune called Ornithology. And it's a tune written by Charlie Parker. And we can actually learn a lot from this type of bebop head because of the kind of melodic language that they play on it. The chords are going to be sort of very similar to How High the Moon. So it's a contrafat, so-called. Written on existing chord progressions, and so it's a nice thing to know that, because you can now go and check out How High the Moon if you haven't done so already, and if you have, you might recognize that they're the same kind of harmonic progression. So I'm going to play it through once and maybe talk through a few things which I think are worth talking about. Firstly, we've got a nice major phrase that you can use. It's worth noting here that the slur might take a bit of time to practice. And you really want to make sure that it's kind of cleanly executed. However, on the guitar, it's sometimes quite hard to translate that kind of horn language onto this instrument. So some people just get away with a slide, perhaps. Yeah, sometimes I find that the kind of proper bebop horn language are a little bit simplified when put onto other instruments. For example, on a piano, you can't even do a proper slide, right? So you might need to think of other ways to try and imitate that. And then you've got a minor phrase, G minor to C7, so goes to the F. All good there. And then we've got an F minor phrase that resolves on the B flat 7. On the real book, sometimes it says E flat 7, okay? E flat major 7. But in this case, the head, the melody hints to us that it's actually an E flat 7, a dominant chord, because of the first note that it lands on. Which is a D flat. And then again, it lands on the F sharp when the chord goes to D7. Then a G minor phrase. And then on the 3-6-2-5, B minor, E7, A minor, D7. Yeah, so on guitar, I like to make use of the fact that we can take patterns and play them on a different fret. Yeah, nice phrase, and you can take this and say, okay, every time I see a dominant chord, I can start on the 3rd, and it gives you the flat 9 as well. A minor, make sure you resolve on the right 3rd. On the A minor, you've got a flat third, which makes it a C. This time it's a G major chord, so you're landing on the third, which is the B natural. Yeah, really nice phrase that you can carry around all the fretboard with you. The only problem here is that if I do that, I can't really start the head the same way that I started on the first time, with my first finger back on the fourth string. So this time I've opted to play it over here. Okay, if I tried really hard, I can probably play the slur as well. But I don't really like that on the right hand. Kind of playing something really quick over two adjacent strings. Okay, strings that are right next to each other. So I've just opted to go for the slide. Okay, but then here I go back to the original position that I'm in, kind of like the 12th fret. That's all the same. And here, the 3-6-2-5, same thing again. B minor, A minor, G major. You can look at it in sort of chord shapes and triads as well. A lot of the times, these kind of bebop melodies are going to hint to you where everything is sitting in terms of the relationship between the melody and its underlying harmony. And don't forget to practice this at a lower octave as well. So I'm going to walk you through the lower octave. Okay, so it's mostly the same, and this time I want to talk a bit about how I always like to reflect the same, or at least a similar kind of pattern on the lower octave as I do with the higher octave. So for example, what's kind of the same direction, at least with the G minor. It's the same kind of triad idea. And over here, I'm actually seeing an E flat dominant 7. Okay, I'm seeing a B flat minor shape. That's something that you'd hear over a B minor chord, a B flat minor chord, sorry. Yeah, and the reason for that is because the E flat dominant 7 is very related to the B flat minor 7 in that they are in the same kind of 2-5 if it was going to an A flat. So maybe sometimes people can impose another chord idea onto a different chord if they had good reason for it. G minor phrase. That's all good. So again, same thing. Very bebop-y. And then I'm just going to skip the rest of it because it's the same, and we head to the final phrase, which is the turnaround. So again, B minor, A minor, G major. So in the next video, I'm going to walk you through how I practice some of these phrases, taking them around in all 12 keys, as well as maybe a bit of articulation study, because this type of music, well, is very kind of horn heavy, like a lead instrument. So for a guitar to successfully imitate that, there's quite a bit of work to be done. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, share it with your guitar friends who might be interested in jazz and bebop. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't already for new weekly videos. I talk about kind of from all the basic guitar technique stuff, how to get started, all the way to stylistic playing, such as pop and rock or jazz. Those are the main ones that I'm into. Cheers.